You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
The Herons are back. Beards talking balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Batter Fan, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. Free 99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Solana, the Herons are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 380 of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I got Mr. Daniel Solana. How are you doing, sir?
I mean, it's Friday. It's almost a weekend. And Inter Miami plays on Sunday in the round of 16. I think it can't be any better, man.
Yeah, it's a big-time game for sure. Would you say that before we play the game, that it's, and good morning to everybody that joined us bright and early. I forgot to put out the tweet before midnight last night, so I'm sure that a lot of people don't even know that we're on right now. Would you say going into this game, this is the biggest game in Inter Miami short history?
No doubt, but we've been saying that almost every single game in the Club World Cup so far, right? We said that against Porto when they played they won the first time against a European team. Obviously, against Palmeiras, it was the biggest game because we could have won the group. And we were 8 minutes away from winning the group, Danny. 8 minutes away from claiming that first spot and being able to face Botafogo, who is the South American champions, instead of facing PSG, who are the European champions. But Inter Miami doesn't like to do anything easily, I've learned. So bring on PSG, baby. Bring on PSG, and let's see what happens.
Would you have preferred Botafogo?
100%. 100%.
I wouldn't have. I wanted PSG.
No, I would have preferred Botafogo. I think Inter Miami matches up better with the South American teams. We saw that against Palmeiras. They basically dominated them for 80 minutes. And then, the fact that when Inter Miami makes substitutes, the players aren't at that same level as the starters. That affects Inter Miami in the Club World Cup. Whereas when Palmeiras made their substitutes, I mean, they brought in Paulinho, they brought in a couple of other guys that are on the same level as their starters and could be starters, and that's really what affected Inter Miami. So, yeah, this is the biggest game Inter Miami has ever played in their history, and we continue to say that as they continue to advance in the Cup.
I think the reason I wanted PSG is because you and I might have two different trains of thought. And I'm okay with the way you're thinking, right? Because I think it's great. But you're thinking, I want to go as far as possible and win it all. So let's find the easiest path, which would have been Botafogo. I don't see Inter Miami winning this tournament. So because I don't see them winning the tournament, I just wanted to play against the best team. Let's see how we match up against the best team. So supposedly the best team is PSG because they just won the Champions League. So I said, let's just match up with them and see how we do. If we pull off, I know I'm going to get a little ahead of myself, right? But just a hypothetical right now. I don't know what you're going to predict towards the end of the episode, but just hypothetical. If Inter Miami were to pull off a win, do you all of a sudden change your expectations to we should win this tournament or we can win this tournament?
No, absolutely not. I think you got to go game by game. And really at this
I agree
point,
with you.
At this point, every single game. So I'm looking at the bracket, PSG, Inter Miami, Sunday at 12 o'clock. The winner of that game will face off against Bayern or Flamengo, both fantastic teams on Saturday, July 5th at 12 p.m. So, look, I'm looking at the bracket. I much rather would have had Botafogo and then the winner of Benfica, Chelsea in the quarterfinals, just because, I don't think Inter Miami has a chance to go all the way and win it, but I also would like to see them get as far as they can, and I would have liked an easier path to go ahead and make some more money. Remember, at this point, every time you advance or you win a game, you make some money, and Inter Miami has already made $20 million, what would have taken them, I think, 172 MLS Cups to win.
Yeah, I saw something like that on Twitter, yeah. No, absolutely. The path for sure was definitely easier if you would have won the group. I mean, in a hypothetical world where Inter Miami beats PSG, they'd probably play against Bayern. And if they were to somehow beat Bayern, there's a good chance that they match up against Real Madrid. Could you imagine that path? PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid. That's basically a Champions League run right there. And then at the end, you match up possibly against Manchester City. Like it would have been quite the ride. But we'll talk about the results in a second. One thing I didn't want to forget to bring up: license plates. That's something that we've talked about on this show. Chris, over the last 3 years, has consistently, once every couple months, put up a graphic that shows how many we've sold, and we have to get to that magic number of 3,000. 3,000 pre-sale vouchers need to be had before they can start producing those license plates. And we found out that they finally hit that 3,000 mark. So if you were one of the 3,000 that pre-ordered the license plate, it is finally going into production, and you could be expecting it in the coming months. I would assume closer towards the end of the season. But yeah, that was big news, especially for Chris. Even though Chris, Solana, like you said, he spells his name with a K because he's a Karen. He's complaining because he's upset that even though that they got 3,000 already, they're not getting it soon enough because he wanted it immediately. He's like, no, I want it in the mail tomorrow. I was like, you gotta wait for them to make them. But it's coming. It's coming. Instead of being happy that it's happening, he's still upset because he finds a way to be upset about everything.
It'd be great if his license plate came in for some reason. It started off with CH.
That would be amazing. All right. And then the loaner saying 3 shows before the PSG game, we needed this. Shout out to the loaner, even though the loaner kills us after the fact on YouTube. But shout out to you. Appreciate that you always watch. And it wasn't just 3 shows. This, I believe, is our 6th show of the week. So yeah, we've been going and Spanish 7. So yeah, we've been going. It's a big week. A lot to talk about. So successful season. I was having this back and forth with Chris, and if you're watching right now, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys that are up early, or if you're in another part of the world that are just watching us live for the first time. Successful season. If, again, hypothetical worlds, right? Because these are all hypothetical conversations. If they were to win this tournament, they no longer have to win anything else for it to be a successful season, correct?
Yeah, but let's be honest. They're not going to win this tournament. They're not going to.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
okay, is there anything they could do in this tournament where all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? That was enough to be considered a successful season? Because I already saw some people earlier this week, right? Like we've done a lot of shows, so I've seen a lot of comments. So I can't remember who it was that said it, but there were some people that were saying, if we beat PSG, that's it. This is a successful season. I disagree. There's some people that say we got out of the round of the group, which nobody expected. I feel like that's already a successful season. I also don't agree with that. I feel like once you get to mid-December, you look back, if we have no trophies, nobody's hanging a "we beat PSG" banner up in Miami Freedom Park. I think you need a trophy, no matter how well you do in this tournament. But some people disagree. Some people say if you beat PSG, you just got out of the group stage. Maybe if you make it to the semifinals. Is there a world in which you think that we have enough success in this tournament where you think, okay, that's a successful season already?
Absolutely not. Absolutely okay. Not. No. I mean, at the end of the day, Inter Miami plays in the MLS. And to be successful, or to say that you are successful, like Worldwide Steve is saying, like you said, they got to win a trophy, whether it's the Leagues Cup, whether it's the MLS Cup, whether it's the Supporter Shield. You got to win something. Obviously, when we talk about, money-wise, yeah, obviously, so far, this tournament has been a success because they've made $20 million. They will never make $20 million in one MLS season just by winning the MLS Cup. So money-wise, it's been a successful season, Danny. It's been a more than successful season because they would have never won this amount of money just playing the tournaments that they play. I think the winner of the Leagues Cup only gets $2 million. So, I mean, even though that's a lot more than what you get winning in the MLS Cup, but that's what this is about, right? At the end of the day, this is about winning trophies and making money. And I if I'm the owner of Inter Miami, then I'm saying, yes, it's a successful season because we got $20 million just by this tournament. But I'm not the owner. I cover the team. I'm a fan. And at the end of the day, they need to win a trophy. They need to win something, because beating Porto, beating PSG sounds great 5-10 years from now. And you can talk some crap to the PSG Ultras, to the Porto Ultras, and you can say, oh, we beat the Champions League. But who cares? They're going to forget about that, months from now. But just like you said, you're not going to hang banners at Miami Freedom Park because you beat a European team.
No, I agree. And that's going to lead me to another question. But before I ask that, you were right. It's just $2 million for winning the Leagues Cup. For winning the MLS Cup, you get $300,000.
It's a joke.
Okay. So that's the disparity. So $300,000 for winning your Leagues Cup. The actual Leagues Cup is $2 million, and we've already made $20 million just for getting out of the group stage of the Club World Cup. So yes, that's a monumental amount of money that they've made just in the last week and a half. And shout out to Mohammed, 6:11 in the afternoon. So you are on the other side of the world completely. So shout out to you for joining us. And then Love Logic, does the 20 million help us with transfers?
It gets wishy-washy there, guys.
Yeah. If you have a free DP spot, technically, but our cap space is $5 million outside of those 3 DPs and a couple TAMs. So and the players and the team itself won't be seeing all of it. It's a single entity. I'm not sure how the distribution works. I just know that the Seattle Sounders players weren't happy with the way it worked. So like Solana said, that's a little wishy-washy. It's hard to say.
Now, Inter Miami does have a DP spot open, because we know that Jordi Alba re-signed his contract and the DP spot has come off of his name. And so Inter Miami does have a DP spot open. Could there be somebody coming now in the next transfer window? I know that there's rumblings with Neymar, although I think he just re-signed with his club through the end of the season.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's a conversation that I've had, I don't know, since forever. I always thought that Neymar would be with Messi to open up the new stadium. And then I had my doubts this year once he signed with Santos and then he got injured again. I thought to myself, no, if he gets injured while at Santos, I don't think Miami's going to roll the dice. But the fact that Neymar just went ahead and he extended just until December, just in time. I mean, obviously it's the end of the Brazilian league also, but it's going to be just in time to possibly start the new season with Miami. I'm starting to think that maybe this is a possibility again. One that I don't know if I want. I mean, if I could guarantee his health, give me Neymar. But because that's such a huge question mark, I don't even know if I want that.
Personally, I don't want him. Personally, I would rather them go after.
Even if he was healthy?
Yeah, even if he was healthy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll bring fans to the stadium, especially a lot of Brazilians. And we've seen that there are a lot of Brazilians in South Florida with the fantastic attendance.
Turnouts. Yeah. But the lack of wing play on our team, like we don't have true wingers. You don't think that he would be great coming off that left side?
No, I don't think he has the speed that he had before. I don't think he's going to be able to match up physically with the defenders that we have in MLS. Remember, MLS is a really, really physical league. Not very tactical, not very skillful, but a lot of the teams rely on their physical ability and their toughness to beat teams. And I just don't think Neymar has it anymore. I think Inter Miami needs to go after younger players. I would love to see them go after, somebody like a Gabriel Peck, who the Galaxy signed last year, who was fantastic. Maybe somebody a little bit older, maybe somebody in their mid-20s. I saw somebody mention in the chat, Ansu Fati. I'm not sure about that signing either, but I would love somebody who's in their mid-20s, somebody who can give, the team exactly what they need and is not just out there to sell tickets.
You don't think that whoever comes as a DP is going to have some type of connection to Messi?
Yeah, possibly.
I would assume so. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I do think that just about like every big name that's come has had some type or been rumored has had some type of connection to Messi. That's why the whole De Bruyne thing made no sense to me, even though my understanding is that they really reached out and they were trying to figure out if that was a possibility. But it didn't make sense to me because I feel like, Messi's gonna play with people that he feels comfortable with to end his career, and I just didn't see that happening.
Oh, and I think that the Modric things also came up, and I thought that those weren't going to happen either because there is no connection there, exactly like you said. Now, talking about who could come next year, and I know we've thrown out Neymar and all that, but we got to look at our own players. Messi's rumored to re-sign his contract extension now in the next couple months,
Couple weeks.
And also Jorge Mas came out and said that if Luis Suarez wants to play another year, he can play another year. So
he said that?
Yes.
That I hadn't hear.
Yeah, he came out and said that. So I wouldn't put it past maybe Luis Suarez playing another year. He doesn't take up a DP spot. Then maybe if Neymar comes, you have the MSN again, and that's going to sell tickets. But is that really what fans down here want? Or is that really what's going to get Inter Miami another MLS Cup? I don't think so.
Well, I know that Luis Suarez is like your hero, so I guess you're the perfect person to ask. Would you want to see him another year? Because, I mean, I feel like he's taken a step back from the production he gave last year. I don't think he's as bad as people are saying. I think people are overdoing his play. I do think that he's blown some opportunities, but he brings you so much mentally. Like his IQ for the game is it's unmatched. But he did take a step back. You don't think that if he comes back for another year, it'll just be worse? Like, I think that he should just head out while he's still playing at a decent level.
Look, I think we've seen him take a little bit of a turn here in the Club World Cup. I think the first game against Al Ali, he didn't play that well, but against Porto, he had a decent game. And then against Palmeiras, he had a goal and an assist. Should have had 2 assists if Tadeo Allende would have made that second one-on-one. And I thought he played fantastic against Palmeiras. I know a lot of folks are upset at his play, but look, as a person who has watched, but as a person who's watched Luis Suarez his entire career, he seems to just figure it out every time, and I think he's starting to figure it out. Obviously, it's going to be tough against PSG, but we still have another 3-4 months left in the season, Danny, and there's a lot of soccer left to be played. You have a Leagues Cup, you have the rest of the MLS Cup, and he still has a lot of chances to get back to that level. Is he going to get back to where he was last year? No, I don't think so. But does he have a chance to get to maybe within a step of where he was? Absolutely. And I think we're seeing him kind of turn the corner, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of fans here in the second half of the season.
Well, I definitely do think that depending on the outcome or the way the rest of the season plays out, maybe that does lead him. Maybe he's open-minded right now. Maybe he's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And if he plays well, maybe he will. So, but as of right now, this moment, if you ask me, I don't think I want to see him back next year. My fear is that he'll take a further step back, and we'll be talking, and it'll be too late because at that point, you kind of signed on for one more year of him as a striker, and it's going to be hard. Look at Obando. Obando doesn't even get on the pitch. And I don't even know if he's good or not.
But doesn't that say something about the player if he can't beat out Suarez?
But that's the thing. I don't know if he can or he can't. I think that Mascherano's scared to bench him.
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. And look, you wouldn't be okay with Suarez coming back if they signed another striker who would play half the minutes or who would start some of the games.
My fear, look, if Suarez is the backup, or I know that he's not playing the full game, he's coming off in the 55th minute, 60th minute, or coming in as a super sub, and it's fluid game in and game out, I'm okay with it. My fear is that they bring Suarez back, and I feel like it's almost like if Messi comes back, he's starting always, right? And I feel like it's the same situation with Suarez. No matter the level of play, I think Suarez is starting no matter what, and that's what worries me. If I found out, okay, Suarez comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm coming back, but I'm okay coming off the bench, playing 20 minutes, coming in as a sub, or starting some games, big games, whatever. If that's what they say, let's try it out. F it. I mean, that you can't the mental aspect of the game, you can't replace that, and Suarez has it more than most. But the physical, unfortunately, I feel like it's starting to finally take a step back. So if I find out that if they say that, oh yeah, he's ready to play 90 minutes every game for a whole other season, I don't know. If I hear that, then no, I don't want it. All right.
I hear you. Look, the fans are upset that we're talking about strikers because we need defenders. But I thought the defense has played pretty decent in this first round. I mean, holding Al Ali to 0 goals, only 1 goal against Porto. And
Which,
then
by the way, that was a BS PK. It was such a soft PK. Noah Allen barely touched the guy in Porto, but on the replay with the slow mo, it looks a lot worse. When you look at it in live action, that shouldn't have been a PK. And if Porto doesn't score there, we have a clean sheet. We win 2-0. I don't know what the tiebreaker was initially with Palmeiras, but at that point, you could have possibly won the group. I don't know how many what the second tiebreaker was.
So the first tiebreaker is head to head. So we tied them. Second tiebreaker would have been goal differential, and we would have been tied, I think, on goal differential, because they also beat
Ali by
they beat
2-0.
Ali 2-0, and then they tied 0-0 against Porto. So at that point, it would have been by goal scored, and if not, I think it goes by coin flip, because I think everything would have been the same. It was 2-0, 2-0, 2-2, 2-2. So I think it would have gone to a coin flip. Now that would have been interesting.
Yes, imagine that. And they might have favored us. FIFA wants us to do well also. So could you imagine that? Like, they don't call that soft penalty on Noah Allen. They don't score that one BS goal, and all of a sudden we're a coin flip away from going into against Botafogo and possibly winning the group, which would have been a crazy story to tell in itself. But yes, like you were saying, our defense has shown out so far this tournament.
Yeah, I just want to remind folks that before the tournament started, I did say Inter Miami was getting out of the group. And that's that. I went on Cincinnati Soccer Talk, jersey swap with Justin and his buddies over there, and that was my big surprise of the tournament. I said Inter Miami would get through the group stage. I thought they had a favorable group, and there we go. They did it.
Yeah, no, I wasn't as ballsy as used to say that it was going to happen, but I did think that it could happen. I always thought that 4 points was possible. I just thought that it would come down to tiebreakers.
I'm not like Chris, who's out of control, and he's saying, "Oh, we're gonna beat PSG and we're gonna slaughter them and all that." And then if we do win, then I can talk shit. No, that's not me. I was legit serious about Inter Miami getting through the group stage. Again, I thought it was a favorable group. And look, they're the only MLS team to get through. Only one of two North American teams to get through. Because Pachuca didn't do anything, and LAFC only scored one goal the entire tournament. Seattle scored 2, but got mopped every game. So, man, look, this is fantastic. I mean, Inter Miami is the only MLS team to get through their group, and maintains alive in the Club World Cup. I mean, this is huge.
All right, so moving on to the storylines, which is the biggest storyline. One of the reasons that I wanted to play against PSG was obviously give me the best. Let's see how we match up against the best in the world. And if we put up a good fight, I feel like mentally that's just such a great motivator. If you win, even better. But the other reason was the storyline, Messi's revenge game. Now, Messi isn't very vocal when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, Paris, with the times that he's been asked. But I feel like he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder for this game. But PSG fans are really into this because they say that Messi screwed them over. We had a PSG guest on with us last night, and they said that they don't like that he skipped out on some training or something to go to Saudi Arabia for I don't know what the hell. And he had to give an apology. So it's just been, it's a storyline. Do you think that this storyline, and from the look that you just gave me, I guess I know what your answer is going to be, but do you think the storyline matters at all?
Nah, absolutely not. I think somebody even said it in the chat earlier in the stream. The PSG Ultras aren't really taking this serious. They haven't traveled. They're not really supporting the Club World Cup. Do I think that they'll tune into this game because it's against Messi? Absolutely. But I don't think that Luis Enrique or any of the PSG players, feel some sort of way against Messi to make this into a bigger game than what it is. I think PSG is just going into this game knowing that they're playing a team that is overmatched. And we're gonna wait and see what happens. But no, I don't think that they're putting any more thought into this game than just a normal game.
Do you think that Messi is though? Because I do believe that Messi finds a way to get to the back of the goal because he knows maybe not the players themselves, but he knows that the ultras are watching, and he knows that there would be nothing better than to stick it to them by beating them. So I do think that Messi's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder during this game, just because he knows, and he wants to somehow beat this team. And a little Messi magic, who knows what could happen.
And Edward right there saying, I'm planning to do my first bet ever in my whole 30 years of life for Miami to win 2-1, but I need to use a VPN because my country blocked any betting action. That's actually funny. And I mean, don't bet your house. Don't bet your house, Edward.
No, don't bet the house. No.
But definitely bet a decent bet, because, you know, the payback there is going to be fantastic, right?
You know what's funny is that I almost bet the Porto game. I was out of town and I didn't, and I regretted it obviously afterwards, because I would have bet Miami win and Messi score, and those both would have hit. I don't know how much money I would have made.
Well, and anonymous is telling us here in France, a lot of people don't like Messi, not just PSG fans, but the French in general. Like at least half of France don't like Messi since 2022, and that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense because he beat you in the World Cup final. So obviously, you know, that hate for Messi is
alive and well.
Warranted. Yeah, it's warranted. But look, I don't think that this is as big a game, just because the difference in skill level, the difference in the players that PSG has versus Inter Miami. I think Inter Miami is just a huge underdog in this game, and unfortunately, you know, if they win, it'll be the biggest win in their history, obviously, beating the European champions. But I think it's a lot to ask for the team to come out and win. I just would rather them not get embarrassed, and I would rather them put up a good showing.
And just for the record here, if you were to bet, let's say $100 that Inter Miami wins, and you bet that Messi scores, and you bet $100, you would make $1,500. I thought it would be a little better than that. I thought that those odds on that would be a lot worse. But it's not bad.
So that bet would be plus 1,500. Wow, that's not bad. I'm curious to see how much
with Messi scoring. Yeah.
So Inter Miami is actually plus 1,200.
Yeah.
So
you bet $100, you make 1,200.
Yeah. So hey, that's huge, and PSG is minus 500.
So you got to bet 500 to make 100.
Exactly.
If I look, what is it? Bet $10. Well, let me not tell people to bet, right? That's irresponsible. Let me not tell them. But I might put $10 just to make 100. You never know. You lose $10, you lose $10, and if they win, you make 120. Yeah, so it's not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I mean, I'll take it.
Do you think Messi gets the back of the net this game?
It's gonna be tough, Danny. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough for Inter Miami to get into the back of the net. I mean, PSG has some fantastic defenders. They have the Ecuadorian William Pacho, who's fantastic.
Marquinhos.
They have Marquinhos, who I haven't seen him that much this tournament. I don't think he played that much last game. But look, their lineup is just up and down, filled with studs.
Of course, they spend the most money in the world, literally more than Real Madrid, which everybody's like, oh, Real Madrid, all they do is throw money at it. They spend way more than Real Madrid. Like, they by far spend the most money in the world.
Oh, when you have a country backing you, I mean, it's and not just any country, right? One of the countries who is probably one of the richest in the world. It's easy to sign all these players and to bring all these players. But look, it's not like they brought a bunch of superstars either, right, Danny? I mean, they have guys like Doué, who nobody really knew much about him, and he turned out to be fantastic. Vitinha, came from a not well known, not a huge team in Europe, and he's been fantastic for them. So look, it's not just about that. Luis Enrique has put together a fantastic squad of a mixture of well-known players and some unknowns, and now those they've become fantastic players.
No, and Dembele's finally showing up also, because even though in the beginning of the year he was he wasn't doing very well, but now people are even talking about him possibly winning the Ballon d'Or, which I think is wild. But some people are actually putting him out there for that. All right, so keys to the game. Now, we've been talking about this game for about a week now. We had some PSG guests on yesterday. They told us that a couple weaknesses. One, they're not physical. So they're not a physical team. They are not good at defending set pieces. And they often get caught on the counter because they push up so high with Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, which are speedsters. They help out on the attack quite a bit, so they can get caught on the counter. Those are the three weaknesses. So, in my opinion, I think that the keys to the game are very simple, much like they've been doing the rest of the tournament. Sit back in a low block and try to score on the counter. And I think that that's what it has to be. After hearing the keys to the game, that's what it has to be. That, and maybe you want to put in a Toto Aviles over a Falcon just so that you can maybe win one of those aerial duels on a corner kick possibly, because they apparently have a hard time defending any aerial balls. They said, well, another weakness that this team has is defending any headers, any crosses, because they don't have any height. Put a Toto Aviles out there for those set pieces. Put a Fafa. Fafa, people look at him and they don't think that he's an aerial threat. Last year in the MLS, he had, I think it was like 9 or 10 goals, and 7 or 8 of them were literally headers. You saw it against Atlanta this year when he went the header that was the game winner. Like, he is an aerial threat. So I think that those are two things that you want to look in, possibly put in some aerial threats, and you got to play that low block in the counter. That's what's going to have to be, and try to hope that you keep them out of goal. What do you think?
I mean, absolutely. I think it's going to be a replica of the Palmeiras game. You saw Inter Miami play very well defensively, at least for 80 minutes. With Toto Aviles starting in the back with Falcon. So I think you'll see them start again, obviously with Frey hurt and Lujan hurt. I think we'll see a similar lineup. I don't know if Mascherano is going to insert Jordi Alba instead of Noah Allen. I think he's probably going to leave him for the second half like he's done against Porto and Palmeiras. But the key to the game is defending, well, like they did against Palmeiras for 80 minutes, defending well like they did against Porto for the entire game. And getting off on the counters. I mean, I think we're going to have to get a goal similar to like that first Tadeo Allende goal against Palmeiras, where you saw Palmeiras completely push up. You saw a long ball come to Suarez. Suarez chested it off and left him one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He did that twice. And Tadeo was only able to score once. So I think it's going to be similar to that, or it's going to be another, similar to like Suarez, where he gets the ball, dribbles a guy, bounces off his knee, he gets alone in front of the goal. And if Suarez is in front of the goal alone, 9 times out of 10, he's going to put it in the back of the net. Now talking about Messi, Messi's been defended very well the entire tournament. He hasn't had a lot of space to work on the top of the box. We've seen him being the facilitator more than the actual goal scorer. The only goal that he scored was the free kick against Porto. If Inter Miami can get a free kick around the box, there's Messi's opportunity to score. We haven't seen him take a lot of shots from the outside. Again, see him be the facilitator around the box. And I think that's going to be the key to the game. See if we can get a foul around the box, which we weren't successful enough to get against Palmeiras. Messi didn't have any opportunities to score a free kick. So I think it's going to be that. Just like you said, it's going to be dead balls. Inter Miami's going to have to get a header here or there. But look, William Pacho is a tall guy. Marquinhos is very good in the air. So I'm not sure what PSG fan you talked about, or talked with, but that doesn't seem to be a weakness in my opinion. But I guess they know the team better than me, so we'll take their word for it.
They said that to start the year, it was a big weakness, that they have improved throughout the year. But if they had to pick a weakness, it would be that getting caught on the counter, and the fact that they're just not physical. So if you have a team that kind of bullies you, which we aren't a very physical team, so I guess that wouldn't be us. But if they play against a physical team, that they have a hard time also. So X factors. If you had to say that there's an X factor for Inter Miami, I think most people would say obviously Tadeo Allende, because he is a vertical threat. Would there be anybody else outside of Tadeo Allende who you think is an X factor in this game?
I think it's got to be Luis Suarez.
Okay.
I think it's got to be.
And Messi's an obvious one, right? But that's not even an X factor. That's just
right. I didn't even mention Messi, but I think there's 2 X factors in this game. One is going to be Luis Suarez. I think we need to see a repeat of how he played against Palmeiras, holding up the ball, looking for those through balls to Tadeo Allende. And I think the other X factor is Ustari. He's had a fantastic tournament. The entire 3 games coming up with.
We lose to Al Ali if not for him.
100%, because he blocks the penalty. We possibly tie against Porto if it wasn't for him, and we probably lose to Palmeiras if it wasn't for him. He's made some fantastic saves, so I think he's going to be another X factor. I think when he plays well, Inter Miami does well, obviously, and not only that, but he needs to clean up a little bit of playing out of the back. We had a couple of missed chances. Tough chances against Palmeiras, or we didn't come out of the back playing well, and they had a couple of chances to score. Luckily, he saved one of those. But I think Inter Miami needs to clean out their play out of the back. It's been really rough the last couple of days, and we've let other teams press us and give the ball away in our final third.
Well, I think that we're almost like sucking the teams in. We're almost absorbing the pressure, and we're asking them to come up to give us the space in behind to get those long balls into the Allende. But it is dangerous, like you said, because I remember one of those passes. I don't know if it was Ustari to Noah Allen or if it was Falcon to Noah Allen, but they were being pressured. They passed it over to Noah Allen when he had no space to receive that ball, and he got it taken away as soon as he touched it. It is going to be a dangerous game because I'm sure that we are going to get pressed high. But I will tell you that in the Palmeiras game, I think that's one of the things that impressed me the most is how they worked out of the pressure. Because I thought that they were doing a good job of one-touch passes and working it around that tiki-taka that they had. And I thought that that's why Redondo was one of the best players on the pitch, because I thought him and Busquets were an outlet for the center backs or for the full backs, and they did a great job of connecting the back line to the forwards. And I think that Redondo is going to be another X factor, because if he can have a game like he had against Palmeiras, I think that's going to make a world of a difference in that midfield. Because again, if we get pressured, we're going to need those two playmakers or steady presences in the midfield in Busquets and Redondo to help us get out of it. So I think that for me, I know Tadeo Allende is an obvious one because he's our only vertical threat. I thought Ustari was a great choice by you. I'm going to say Redondo. I think Redondo has to have another game like he had last game. And I honestly think that if he doesn't get injured or get those cramps and he doesn't come off, I think that we win that Palmeiras game. Because I felt like once he came off, we stopped possessing the ball. We couldn't take the air out of the ball anymore because we had nobody in the center with Busquets to kind of play with that ball. Segovia was no longer on the pitch. Redondo left. So at that point, when we received the ball, it was just send it and then just absorb the pressure again. And I thought that killed us the last 10 minutes, because at that point, then Palmeiras was just on our ass for 10 minutes. Whereas then when Redondo and Segovia were in, they were playing with the ball. And, hey, negative passes, that's fine. Horizontal passes, that's fine. Safe passes, but they were calm under the pressure. And I thought that was our biggest loss. Segovia and Redondo coming off early was a big loss.
Absolutely. I mean, you take those players off, you bring in Baltasar Rodriguez, you bring in Fafa, which they're fast
just
players,
vertical threats. Yeah,
exactly. They don't offer you that possession. They don't give you that security with the ball in the midfield. And you're 100% right. I mean, the last 10 minutes, we were just grabbing the ball and kicking it up, and then they were just coming back and just possessing on our final third, and they got a couple of opportunities in the box. And hey, that's football, right? That's how it works, unfortunately. But look. No doubt, Redondo has been fantastic this, during the Club World Cup. I think it was big for him to get that confidence from Mascherano, to get that confidence from playing well, because he has not been a good player during the MLS season. And I think you can see the type of player that he can be when you play against teams who play more open, like we've seen in the Club World Cup.
But that's the problem. And I know it's a conversation for another day, but we could touch on it if you want. I think that right now we're feeling really good. Our team's finally playing better. We're playing the counter, which is working against these teams. They open themselves up a little more for us to play into space. Once we get back into MLS play, it's going to be teams just hunkering down and playing that low block against us. And we still haven't seen that we can break it down. We haven't had to play against that in the Club World Cup. So I don't know if a lot of people are like, oh, well, we've done so good, we expect to kick ass once we get back to the MLS. Things are going to look different when we start playing against those teams again. Am I saying that it can happen? No. I think that Segovia has built, continued to improve and built more chemistry with Suarez and Messi in the center of the pitch. I think Redondo last game, and if he has another good game, is going to be great. But I don't know how they're going to do once they start playing in the MLS again, because, again, they're going to be playing against a different style of defense again, where they're just forced to break the teams down.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about it ad nauseum during the season, right? Especially now during the Club World Cup, we've mentioned it that Inter Miami looks better because the teams play more open. They're looking for opportunities. In the MLS, they've kind of already, I don't want to say figured it out because I don't think there's any way to truly figure out Inter Miami. We have so many different players that could be lethal. But most of the teams play a low block against us. They put 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in the back. They clog the box, and we can't find a way in. They don't allow you to play.
And they almost suck you in, right? Because then you start pushing up a little higher, and that's when you become susceptible to the counter, which we can't defend very well because outside of Noah Allen, our defenders aren't necessarily the paciest.
No, absolutely not. Even though Chelo Wigan is okay fast, and Ian Frey, I would say, is fast, but everybody else is definitely not as fast as what we would want them to be, right?
Who do you think have been the standouts in the Club World Cup for us so far? Because I think that Falcon has had himself a great tournament, even though I felt like he was in the doghouse for a while before the tournament. I felt like he's had a great tournament.
I agree. I think Falcon has been great. I think Noah Allen, other than the penalty that he caused, has been fantastic. Ustadi, like we just mentioned a little while ago, has been fantastic for the team. I think Chelo Wigan has played 2 fantastic games. The game against Porto, he played great. The game against Palmeiras, he also played great. Look, I think Inter Miami overall, their players adapt better to the international game or to the European game, where it's a lot open. The teams, like to come out and play. They'll pressure you, versus the MLS, which to me is a much more, for lack of a better word, boring league, because like we said, they play the low block. They try to counter at you. They don't actually come out and play. And to me, that's boring. I love these Club World Cup games where the teams are actually going out and it's back and forth, and it's a missed opportunity here, a missed opportunity there, finally a goal. We don't see that in the MLS. We don't see that when Inter Miami plays against these MLS teams. It's usually a much more slow-paced, more methodical, where the other team is counterattacking, and unfortunately, that doesn't work into our favor, right, Danny?
No, it doesn't. And I think that there's a theory as to why that is. In the MLS, you could only spend big money on 3 players, possibly a TAM here or there. So usually all the talent is in the attack. So your defenders usually aren't as skilled as you might see around the world. So what do you do when you have a poor defense with players that aren't that great? Well, you play a low block because otherwise you're going to get beat. So I think that that's why in the MLS, everybody plays the counter because, the majority of the talent in this league is in the attack and not so much on the defensive end. So I think that that's why everybody hunkers down. But I agree. It would be great to see this league open up and become a little more fun to watch, like you see in, let's say, La Liga and those high-scoring leagues. But, we'll see. I do think that it's going to be interesting when Inter Miami goes back. And I see here Saket Vigne. Thanks for banning my main, Pedri Padri, because I am getting tired of American propaganda. I'm signing out from Inter Miami and Battered Herons. All right, well, shout out to Pedri Padri for jumping on. Pedri, everybody is we don't really ban anybody. We usually encourage people to talk crap about us, but you always start off with these American idiots or these Americans this and these Americans that. It gets a little old, Pedri. Just say what you want to say, and that's it. Just go straight to the point.
We're not even American. I'm Uruguayan. You're Colombian. What are you saying, Pedri? What are you saying?
I just don't understand why he has to start off with that instead of just saying like, "Oh, I don't like Ian Frey." He goes, "These Americans always with their Ian Frey." He's like, come on, guy. But anyway, back to it. All right, so Sunday, huge game. But before I get into that game, I was having a conversation with, I think it was Xavier or somebody, last week, and then I asked Chris also. I haven't gotten your take. Some people were saying that Porto, that win was the biggest win in team history. Do you agree that that's the biggest win in team history?
100%. The first American team to beat a European team in an international tournament. That goes down in history, Danny. That you can never take that away from from the history books. Inter Miami is the first team to ever do that. And I know a lot of people are going to say that the Nashville game in the Leagues Cup where they win their first, official
Trophy.
trophy, is probably the biggest game in Inter Miami history. But I don't think so. You're playing against another MLS team. This where for $2 million, where you beat Porto and you already made $2 million for beating Porto. And not only that, you made history, and you're moving on in a tournament that has 32 of the top teams in the world. Whereas in Leagues Cup, you're only playing against, and if I remember correctly, the only Mexican team we played in that Leagues Cup was Cruz Azul in the first game of the tournament. Every other team was MLS. So I don't think you can say that that's the biggest win or the most historic win for Inter Miami, because it was against another MLS team. I think this is by far the biggest win in MLS history, or in Inter Miami history.
I can't disagree with you, because I understand why you and other people say that. But I think it's more of a recency thing, because let's say hypothetically, which I really hope isn't the case, but we get to the end of the year 2026. It's December 2026. We haven't won any trophies. And then we look back. Okay, Inter Miami has existed now for 7 years. What's the biggest win? Do you think we point to, we beat Porto last summer? Or do you think we point to, that one trophy we got in our first 7 years? I think that you point to the one trophy you got the last 7 years. At the moment, I think that because we're in it and it just happened and we're still in the Club World Cup, I understand. And I understand the significance of beating a European team. But a year and a half from now, I look back, I can't imagine that we're like, last summer we beat Porto. I can't imagine that. I think that until you get another trophy, it will forever be the Leagues Cup until you get another trophy.
What if they beat PSG on Sunday?
That would be huge. But PSG would be huge. PSG would be huge. That would have to be the biggest one, yeah. But maybe it's because Porto is coming off of a bad year. It's Porto, I don't know. But yeah, I guess if they beat PSG, that would be the biggest win, because I thought that they could beat Porto. I picked them to draw, but I thought that they had a chance to beat them. I'm not with PSG. That would be the biggest upset probably ever.
I just think that the way that they beat Porto was fantastic. Frey and Maxi Falcon basically put Samu in a body bag, and he didn't do anything that game. And Samu is their top scorer, and he was fantastic in the Portuguese league last year. And that's just the way that they beat them, right? I just think that it was by far the best game that they played, and again, the biggest win in club history, because they beat a European team. And again, to me, beating Nashville, even if it was for a trophy, isn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, like I said, I have a hard time disagreeing with you, because I understand the significance of it, but I think that was more of a win for the MLS than to Miami. As a franchise, next year, I'm not going to look back and be like, we beat Porto. Like, no. To me, I'd be pointing at the trophy. And Steve Munoz said we should go back to bed. I'm an early bird. I'm going to be up early no matter what, whether we're doing a show or not. I'm just a morning person. All right.
I think Steve should go drink some coffee.
Did you have no coffee today?
Me? No, not yet. I haven't had any coffee. I'm gonna make some mate after the show.
And do you drink mate more than coffee?
I think so. I drink mate almost every day of the week, and I probably have coffee maybe like 4 days of the week.
Really?
Yeah. It depends. I can't do both.
A process to make mate though?
Nah, it's so easy at this point. I make it in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's just putting the yerba in the mate, and really the thing that takes the longest is getting the water to warm up. But I have one of those electric water heaters or water warm uppers, and it takes 2 minutes. No big deal.
With the coffee, I just set it up. I'll set it up the night before, and then once I get up, I just press the button. I used to hate drinking coffee. I wasn't a coffee drinker up until the pandemic.
Yeah, I never drank coffee either. I was more of a Starbucks, give me a Frappuccino kind of guy. Every once in a while I would have, a little cafecito, but lately I would say maybe the last 3 or 4 years, I'm a big cafecito guy. I love going to Rinconcito over here next to my house and getting a little cafecito, a couple croquetas or la carreta. Unfortunately, my Nespresso broke a couple weeks ago, so I can't make any more.
Oh, you're a fancy guy. This guy fancy with the Nespresso.
Hey, it was free, man. It was a gift.
And then Anonymous asking, what kind of coffee do you guys drink? I drink mocha pot coffee with milk. Well, that's one thing about coffee is that I drink whatever my wife buys. I think it's Bustelo, maybe. I prefer drinking Cuban coffee just because it's quick. I don't like the taste of coffee. People enjoy drinking coffee. Like my wife, she like wakes up and is already thinking about like, oh, I can't wait for my 3 cups of coffee today. I don't like the taste of coffee. I don't know why people enjoy it, but it keeps me up. So that's why I drink it. That's why I started drinking it during the pandemic. But the majority of my life, I wanted to avoid it because I used to see my mom, if she didn't have her coffee, she'd get a headache. I'm like, chill. I don't want to be dependent on that. So I always try to stay away. But I eventually gave in during the pandemic when my son was under a year old and we had a second baby, and things just change once you have multiple kids. So
Look, the good thing about mate, Danny, is it's not something that you just drink right away like you do with a cafecito, right? Cafecito is basically 2 sips. The mate, it lasts, about an hour and a half, and you're pouring every little while. Not only that, but mate is good for your stomach. It's good for your intestines, and it's also a way to cover up some hunger.
I'm still waiting for you. You said you were gonna make me some so I can finally try it.
Oh, I went to the game with Bigote to the Inter Miami Vancouver game. I took him some mate, and he drank.
I need my own straw though.
I know. Don't worry. I will take you your own straw. I'll take you. Bigote wasn't as petty as you, and he drank out of the same bombilla as I did. So
it's not happening.
And Mike V is saying mate gives you the runs. Hey, it could if your stomach isn't strong enough. It could.
Shout out to Mike V, because Solana, you went on and you said, hey, Inter Miami's getting out of the group stage. Mike V, like 2 or 3 weeks before the Club World Cup even started, has been saying it. They're gonna make it to the quarterfinals. They're 1 win away. So Mike V, that'll be big time if it goes through. And then somebody said that coffee doesn't work for them anymore. This coffee, the American coffee that I drink, when it's like a big thing, it doesn't work for me either. The Cuban coffee is the only one that really keeps me awake now.
So what do you drink the American coffee for?
Just because it's become like such a thing that now it's like I feel good with the warm coffee in the morning. Like I'm driving to work and then I feel like it doesn't feel like a regular morning if I'm not sipping on coffee, which is what I was wanting to avoid. I didn't want that to be me, but here I am. I'm a basic bitch now.
Hey, at least you're not stopping at Starbucks every morning.
No, definitely not. No. Look, I'm not a big coffee person as far as taste goes, but it's become a part of me. And one other thing, for those of you in the chat, even though I know a lot of people in the chat right now aren't local, but if anybody is local or watching this on replay and you're local, if you could do me a favor, in the comment section after the fact, just put if you would be up for attending a watch party. We've been talking about it for what? We're coming up on 3 years now. Our 3 anniversary is next week. And we've had people like, oh, we should get together. We should all do like a watch party. We should watch. With the 3-year anniversary coming up, we considered finally doing one, possibly next week. But we don't know if anybody's going to show. So let us know if you would be interested in actually coming and showing up, possibly in Wynwood, for a watch party. I guess next home game or next road game would be next Saturday. Well, next Saturday would either be us against Montreal or us against Bayern. So it's one or the other. So let us know if you would be interested, because if we get enough people, then maybe we'll set something up and have a watch party. And if not, that's cool also. Like I said, we're just kicking around the idea. So we'll see.
Hey, I'm in.
And I was saying, I'm sure Solana would be down. So I didn't even ask. I know you'd be down.
I'll take my family out there, and we'll have a good time, man. People can come make fun of me, and I'll wear my hat. They can make fun. I'll take some mate. We can have some mate.
Bring multiple straws though.
I'll bring 3 or 4. No worries.
Okay. All right. So before we sign off, at least I've been talking about this game for a week now. I know you've been listening, and you've also been talking in different places about the game. Final predictions. That's it. This is our last show before Sunday's game. It's an early game. It's a noon game. PSG has been playing a full season. They've played Champions League games late into May. I think it might have been actually the first couple of days of June. So they're already tired. We know that they are not physical. Apparently, they're not great defending the aerial ball. and they sometimes get beat on the counter because Hakimi and Nuno get up so high. With all of those things considered, your final prediction for Sunday's match against PSG.
Let's go crazy. Let's just go crazy. I'm gonna channel my my CHRS, my Chris in here, and I'm gonna go 2-1 Inter Miami.
2-1 Inter Miami. Oh, okay. All right. I want to be a homer, but I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. Now, the PSG guest that we had on yesterday, one of them said that he thinks that it's going to go to extra time. And I think if we push it to extra time, I think Miami wins. I think at that point, if you push it that far, Messi Magic will come alive and well, and will win. And PKs, that's a whole nother thing because Donnarumma is gonna be the keeper for them, and I think that he's a good penalty stopper. But I still got to go PSG. I think PSG wins. I've been saying 3-1. I feel like they've everything I've heard about them having weaknesses and things like that has made me feel a little more confident. So I'm going to change this to 3-2. 3-2. I think that Miami somehow figures out a way to get on the score sheet twice. And we're going to make life difficult for them with the low block. I'm going to say 3-2. PSG wins. But I think we come out of this feeling very proud of the performance that the team made. We're losing 3-2 to the best team in the world after they kicked Inter Milan's ass 5-0 is a good look for us. And I think that this will be great heading into the final stretch of the season.
I can't disagree with your analysis, just because we're talking about the champions of Europe here, and we've seen how they've played this tournament, beating Atletico de Madrid 4-0, which is no big deal. Obviously, they lose to Botafogo. And that's why I think Inter Miami can maybe win this game if they can catch them off guard, if they can get a favor from Gianni Infantino to call the referee and call a penalty like they did for Argentina in the World Cup final. I think something like that could happen. Hey, talking about Argentina, where's Boca? Where's River? Both of them are
drawing with Auckland was such a bad look, man.
Terrible, huh? Good. Shout out to my boy Gray for getting that goal. He's a school teacher. Come on, Danny, you got to be so proud of him. He's a school teacher, gets a goal against Boca Juniors. He's gonna go back to New Zealand. He's an absolute hero. He should be on Good Morning America. I mean, The guy is a teacher. He had to take time off from work to come play the Club World Cup and scores a goal against Boca Juniors, and they go out with a point. That's crazy, man. And you have teams like Ulsan, Urawa, Pachuca, who are professional teams, and they didn't even get a point. So Absolutely. Shout out to Auckland.
I think that's more on Boca than anything else, though. That was embarrassing.
I always got to throw a little jab at my Argentinian friends.
I know. And then for people that I know, a lot of PSG fans and some people that are just expecting Miami to fail are expecting to get their ass kicked. One thing that I think I would put money on is Miami's not giving up 5 goals. I think Miami's going to defend for their lives. Inter Milan, when they let up 5, they weren't defending. They were chasing the game. It was the Champions League final. They were going after it, I think, once they went down 2-3 goals. I think Inter Miami is going to hold that low block all game long. And I think they're going to make it very difficult for them to break them down 5-6 times. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you better hope that they don't put up 4 or 5. I don't think they will. I think that Miami's going to do a good job of defending and making it a competitive game. And I'm looking forward to it.
Look, somebody put in the chat also that the heat is going to be a factor. It won't, guys, because it's being played indoors. It's going to be played at Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. So there won't be any heat at all. It's air conditioned. It's a beautiful stadium. Look, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's going to be – it's the biggest game Inter Miami has played in their history. It's the biggest game.
In their short history, yeah, for sure.
So,
all right. Do you have a predicted winner of the Club World Cup, just to end it with that?
I mean, I would love for one of the South American teams to win it. I'd love for Palmeiras to take it up.
I'm rooting for Palmeiras.
Actually, not Palmeiras, because I'm not, because that's tactical manager's team, and I'm not a fan of him. But I mean, I would love for one of the South American teams to win. Obviously, the fact that Palmeiras and Botafogo are facing off, it sucks. It's going to be a fantastic game, but that's one less South American team that'll be left in the tournament. Looking at the bracket, Chelsea, Benfica, I think that's going to be a snoozer. Fluminense, Inter Milan, I think is going to be a fantastic game. I think Fluminense really wants it, so that's going to be a good game. That Man City, Al Hilal game, I mean, I think City's going to take that.
Yeah, of course.
I think the best game of this next round is going to be Dortmund Monterrey.
And I think Monterrey might take it. And I think it would be awesome to see Sergio Ramos play against Real Madrid.
Oh man, that would be fantastic. I mean, that's even saying that Juventus is not going to beat Real Madrid. I know that they got
their ass kicked by Man City yesterday.
Yeah, but Real Madrid tied Al Hilal in the first game.
Yeah, I guess
they haven't been that great either.
No, they haven't. And Mbappe hasn't been playing.
Yeah, he has gastritis. He was in the hospital last week.
Yeah. And then he randomly sued PSG yesterday, which was I don't know what the hell that's about. But anyway, all right. Any final thoughts, Solana?
No, man. Go out there and drink your mate. Make sure you don't share straws. And if you don't like mate, go out and get your cafecito. Thank you for joining us. Dude, these are always fun, man. They're early morning, but we get some great some great folks in the chat. It's fantastic. I love these cafecitos.
Absolutely, and hopefully we can get another one or two in next week also. And then look out, if you guys are in Miami and you guys are Dolphin fans, Heat fans, or even Marlins fans, we're bringing back all those battered Heat, Marlins, and Dolphins shows coming up in the coming weeks. So look out. Solana usually is on with me talking Heat. So make sure you look out for us with that. And with that said, we appreciate everybody. I know a lot of people in the live right now are people that usually don't join us because you guys are in other parts of the world. So we really appreciate you hanging out with us. And for those that are here in the States and you just are up early, whether on your way to work or you just are up and just watching us, we appreciate you hanging out with us because that's pretty awesome that we got your support. And then again, don't forget to comment if you are up for a watch party because that's something we're going to put together, hopefully. And we got 3 years of the Battered Herons coming up next week. So that should be fun also. All right. If you are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, like Rohan said, hit that like button, please. It helps us a ton. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We've put out 6 or 7 episodes already this week. It's a big week, big game coming up. And for those of you in the chat, again, you guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour. And I hope this is a good way for you. It's a great way for me to start my day. Solana agrees, talking a little Herons. So hopefully we can fill your day with a little Inter Miami talk. And we'll be back on Sunday for the post game. So until the next one, have a good one.
See ya.